Is it offensive to just say that's just straight big backery? I was all on the big back. I was big backery. I was like, yo, give me a couple trips. I want one to warm up with, and then I need the second one with the different sauce for my wing.
Did you know that Lonnie Johnson is a black man who created the Super Soaker?
I mean, I knew a black man created the Super Soaker.
His name is Lonnie Johnson.
Lonnie Johnson.
And he literally, he was cheated from Hasbro all these years.
Yes.
And so he wins this case in 2013 against Hasbro, who's been cheating him and not telling him how many Super Soakers they've been selling, so he can't get his just portion. He just is getting a check now for $73 million.
Ooh. Give it to him.
That's what I'm saying. He deserves
it.
I love his story. He's a NASA engineer who is trying to kind of fix this problem between Freon and using water instead of Freon to go from like cooling stuff down or something like that. And then he shoots his stream across his bathroom, realizes this is great. It could be a perfect toy. Ends up creating it 10 years later. Super Soaker is now the #1 gun in America, really kind of global brand. Yes, right. Yeah. What's cool about him, honestly, is he also did like creations for Nerf.
Yes, yep.
He's kind of just an inventor.
Lonnie the legend.
Lonnie the legend. So shout out to Lonnie. You finally got your just due. Yes. You deserve that money. I know you won the case in 2013.
Yes, he's been battling for a minute.
For an independent inventor, you have a really hard time winning in an economy where a big corporation can come in and steal everything. And in the end, he's been fighting just for them to have the transparency to say, what are the records for how many you're selling? Because I'm like, he just needs to have his fair share. So
it's like an old school record contract.
Ain't that crazy?
Just not telling you how many you sold.
But we got to make sure we give him props because he gets his flowers. You got your win. Always fight for what you're just due. If you don't fight for it, you won't get it.
Come on now. So, and Mr. Super Soaker.
Super Soaker.
The most legendary.
Before Soulja Boy.
Wow.
Before Soulja Boy, there was Lonnie in his bathroom creating the Super Soaker.
We could argue with no Lonnie, there is no Soulja Boy.
Whoa.
One can make that argument. Wow. I'm not making it, but come on. How big was that song?
I argue Soulja Boy owes Lonnie everything.
Is that the next lawsuit? I'm just kidding. Leave Soulja Boy alone.
It's kind of been a crazy week this week. Obviously, a lot's going on now the world.
It's
the world.
The entire world.
I know this conversation, we're kind of talking about this idea of where black people are today, like nowadays,
right
culture.
Now.
And what's been crazy is as loud as everything's been, black people have been more quiet than silent, some would say,
I think it is incredibly moving and impressive how you just see Black Americans kind of hit this one note of like, we're just going to relax, do our best to take care of ourselves, take deep breaths, get our rest, go line dancing apparently, and just be us and wait it out.
Yeah.
I mean, we respect and maybe even appreciate y'all sitting this one out, because one thing I think where black people are right now is like, we're going to do what we want to do.
Yeah, that's like, real too.
That's what it feels like.
There's a lot of that.
People have to take care of themselves.
Yes.
Inside the house and outside of the house. It's like we've been out there on the front lines for years, and it's it's not funny.
No.
But some comical things have been happening with a different group of people taking the lead.
Yep.
Like, not to turn it into a comedy podcast, but I just want to show you, or share with you and us. There's a lady who posted this content. She went to her first protest recently this past week. And I know. How lovely. What a moment. Stepping into adulthood. Anyway, she was already an adult. She said, here are my thoughts from my first protest.
We got notes.
She posted this. She said, hey, everyone, I went to my first protest. Thoughts from my first protest.
What's her name? What's your first name?
I'm not ready to do that yet.
Okay, don't give her. Okay, let's go.
Because, she's been taking a peek. Okay. But okay. First, point one. My kid was bored. I don't think it would be too hard to like arrange a bouncy castle or something for these protests.
There's a piece of me that's like, you know what?
Turn it up.
Why not? Why not add a bouncy castle for the kids at the next
I
protest?
tell you what, you can do that when you know they're not going to get tear gassed. So that is one thing that lets you know the energy of these protests was received a little differently.
Very different.
Because I tell you what, that's not normally happening. Okay, number two. It's a little brighter. People laughed at my sign, and so I made some friends, actually. That was nice.
Oh, that's good.
It's almost, maybe it's like a book club.
Protest 101.
Yeah, protest.
You got a good sign, it's going to make some good friends.
For sure. Or rubber bullets. But again, in this case, the good sign, the good friends, the bouncy house, it's different energy. It's
got
fine.
carried away.
Whatever. Yeah, these things can happen. All right. Now, then she had a suggestion.
Okay.
Number 3. I don't know, but I think there should be more singing.
Singing?
I think she means like singing. Look, from bouncy house to
Sweet Caroline. She wanted Sweet Caroline at the protest. She wanted them to stop for a moment. Sweet Caroline.
Protest make me feel so good.
So good.
Whoa. So overall, this lady, again, we don't want to name her. She's already catching some flack. This lady said it's an overall 8 out of 10. I would do it again.
I love how the rating had nothing to do with what she was protesting about.
Know.
I'll tell you something else that happened this week that was kind of crazy on the other side of the internet.
Okay.
Ooh. People were getting mad at Chili's. I don't know if you know about this.
Chili's, like old school baby back rib Chili's?
It's some controversy over there at Chili's.
Chili's.
Apparently, the Triple Dipper sampler platter is 3,000 calories and it's wrecking people's worlds.
That's the one with the tenders.
Now listen, it's summertime
and
people trying to get sexy for the summer. I imagine that this time of year, all of us are focused, but it was a terrible time for this stat to come out. But 3,000 calories in that Triple Dipper. Now I found myself, this is how I'm going to toss to you.
Okay.
I found myself saying, is the Triple Dipper for one person or is the Triple Dipper for a group? I think I know what Chili's would say. I want to know what an everyday
Is this
person
like when black people changed the rules to Uno? It's like, no, we make the rules Uno. You did it wrong. Here's what it's for. We do that
What
sometimes.
would you say the Triple Dipper?
Man, I'm gonna just expose myself. Back in the era where I used to eat the Triple Dipper,
Yeah, bro.
I don't think I ever shared it.
If it came to my table at the stage of life that I'm in now,
Okay.
I would 100% say, hey, this is for everyone. There's no way I would say, hey, this is all for me.
Is it offensive? And I've been guilty of this. Is it offensive to just say that's just straight big backery?
It's big backer.
It's mad big back.
It's big backer.
I was all on the big back train though. I was big backery I was like, yo, give me a couple Triple Dippers. That's gonna be my whole meal. I want one to warm up with, and then I need the second one with the different sauce for my wings.
The chips was bottomless.
Oh, the
so
bottomless
the bottomless
chips
chips,
and salsa?
you add that to the mix. I'm like, it was just kind of a fiasco.
The crazy thing though is you got 10,000 calories for like $12.
Yeah, you're right. Might say
That's how
10
they
for,
got
maybe
us.
10 for 10.
10 for 10.
I hate to put that. Are we
Calories in
creating a new
dollars?
slogan for Chili's? We'll give you 10 for 10.
They probably could use it.
Where else can you get 10,000 calories for $10?
That's
Well, actually,
wild.
it's a lot of places.
5 days
Church's
worth,
chicken.
That's true. 5 days worth of calories for $10 is wild. That's crazy work.
Okay, now this one's super sensitive,
yeah,
and then we
yeah.
got to jump into this was crazy. I don't know if you know the band Blackpink, but K-pop.
K-pop band?
It's K-pop band.
Okay, yeah. I thought
So some members of the K-pop group, Blackpink, were caught using the N-word in their audition tapes years ago. So then, okay, they're in the Blackpink's in the middle of having to say, hey, like, you know, that was way back in the day, we've changed. And then there's video that surfaces of another K-pop group throwing a party where they're all dressed up like black people. That one was difficult. That's the one that's currently happening right now. It's kind of
That's
sent a
tough.
firestorm.
That's tough.
Somebody said, everybody loves black culture, but no one loves blacks.
Yeah.
And that one's difficult.
And
Now,
people-
I definitely
yeah.
don't. I think K-pop has a lot of people who appreciate black people.
Yeah.
But I do think this is a conversation that I'm interested to see how it plays out. There are definitely K-pop fans that are defending. It's brought back the age-old debate of if it was put in a song, then you shouldn't get mad if we sing the lyric.
Goodness.
I said, we've been having that conversation in America for a long time.
We have. This is a little different, but I love something Ta-Nehisi Coates said this many years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. He probably said it multiple times. Great writer, great author. But he was talking about certain words and certain pieces of other people's cultures. And he was talking about, again, this Black appropriation stuff and the N-word and all that stuff. And he was saying, my wife and her friends will refer to themselves at times jokingly or whatever, like with the B word this, B word this, whatever. He was like, but due to my life and my life experience and not sharing their life experience, even though they love me, they trust me, we get along wonderfully, there's really no reason for me to step in to using that language when I refer to them. When is it really a good move to just like turn someone's culture into a character or a caricature?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
No,
You're right.
No, I mean, it's just not the move.
And I'll say this in
Where's
their
the
defense.
win?
It doesn't reflect their music, what their music stands for, which is like all about love.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I think
so
that's
odd.
why it's become such a vibrant conversation, because it's like it stands for love, and now they've got to do the work to make sure that, and love requires work. So
yes. Something that I think I saw in the news a couple of days ago, or just update, is, the recent women's NCAA championship college basketball was on. UConn won. Oh, yeah. It had been a while. They're a powerhouse. You've got I think 13 or something championships. But Paige, just about to be the number one pick in the WNBA. Paige was hooping. Paige is a legend. Yeah. But per this conversation that we're having, convo has recently resurfaced about her. I think it was her 2021 ESPY award speech when she won her award. And Paige, young, incredible, white American female hooper, she got up there for her awards and chose to graciously honor Black women. She said, I am centered in a Black woman led, dominated, and driven sport, which is true numerically. Yeah. She just was so gracious and so honoring of owning her spot. I mean, Paige is a hooper. She's incredible. So she earned her spot. She owned it. But while she had that space, she was like, but I also want to shine the light on a lot of hoopers who maybe don't get the recognition.
That's so true. Here's why that goes so far, because as Black men, we understand the plight of Black women. Yes. And how they work so hard, are the backbone of so much, but oftentimes are so forgotten and overlooked and neglected.
Correct.
And it always breaks my heart when I see environments where it's like high performing, high capacity, highly intelligent Black women doing so much great work and not getting any type of acknowledgement. So it's really special that she was aware enough to say, I'm going to stop in my moment where I'm getting all the glory and praise. I want to give it back to y'all.
For sure.
Because y'all probably haven't experienced this like that.
Right.
I think what I love most about what's happening right now in America is a lot of my white friends, when Kamala lost, were wondering how Black people were going to respond. And I think a lot of people were hoping that they would respond in a way that was not going to end up setting Black people back. Let's just be honest. Now, I love what you said earlier. I think there's multiple things. I think there's people who are like, this is time for us to be a different kind of patriot.
Yeah.
To say, hey, we understand that we still love this country and we got to serve it and we got to show up to our jobs and put a smile
on it. It's our home country.
Yes, that's just the first. Second, mad. Silent, but mad. Not happy about it at all. Third, petty, waiting for the day that they get to say.
There's a lot of that petty energy out there.
Did we tell you? Didn't I? Those are the three categories that I've been noticing. They all exist. I'm like, okay, are you patriot or petty? It's like patriot or petty.
Patriot or petty is fire.
That might be the new American slogan. That might have been the podcast.
Yeah, that patriot or petty. That's hardcore.
It takes a lot to still rep your country when you're still trying to understand your country.
I think a lot of people were hoping we wouldn't end up back in a space where it just feels like we have to buckle down and get ready for survival mode again. You almost enjoy figuring out kind of how to thrive in your home country and I'm learning this about us and about all Americans and about business and moves and where should I shop and where should I spend my money? Where should I go to school? Where should I raise my kids? All the things that are important. Yep. And now it feels like shell shock almost.
Shell shock.
I have to make different decisions now.
I know. Here's what I've learned watching, specifically starting with the Target fast.
Okay. Yes.
When I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is a response from a lot. Sure, there's conversations about BLM and all these things in the past. I think Black people realized, how do we want to respond? And before it was demanding something change in the system.
Yes.
That didn't go well.
Never worked.
So I think you learn from that
Yes.
and you say, okay, rather than disrupt that much, we will simply disrupt by saying we just will withhold something from a system.
Yes.
And so it was a prototype. I think that's the beauty of anybody in business. So you test out something. And I think to watch Black people say, let's just test this out with one place. Let's just test out and see. When I started digging into the numbers, it's kind of crazy. 12 million a day is what Black Americans are estimated to spend at Target.
Ooh.
12 million.
Just at Target?
Yes, just at Target.
Ooh.
Just at Target.
Goodness.
Collectively, Black people spend $1.2 trillion annually in America. If you don't feel like someone values you, then in the end, don't give them what you value, which is probably what you worked hard for.
Value-based representation.
Yeah.
You can devalue me, you can disrespect me, you can discard me. Sure. I'm going to represent myself this way.
Yep.
You get $0 of my dollars.
I still won't play the victim.
Correct.
I understand that I do have value and I have something of value.
I love when human beings step into their value and you make value-based decisions or value-driven decisions. I think it even gives you a different energy around your resistance.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I think it gives you a boldness and a confidence around like, hey, I can't control everything, but I can control what I allow to impact me on a certain level.
Now, here's what's crazy. Here's the dark side of this.
Yes.
The dark side. There's a lot of Black entrepreneurs on the shelves.
I know.
I think if you're a Black American and you have a value for Black entrepreneurship, then I think in this season specifically, we have to do our part of making sure that we are looking for and trying to discover Black entrepreneurs.
Yes, I would agree.
And Black entrepreneurs. You need to do your part in making sure that you're looking and searching for Black consumers and making sure. The auntie with the WordPress page, okay,
Why?
you ain't gonna pop up in our Google search, okay? And so you need to do what you need to do right now, okay? It used to be the holy grail was bust my butt and hopefully end up on a major retailer shelf.
No.
And I think now the conversation is, you know what? What if that's not the holy grail? What if it's finding direct connection to our community, consumers, whatever you want to call it, and saying we can build that, and it's not necessarily going through a third wheel.
I saw a thing last week where kind of a Black mom, this was a restaurant, kind of a Black mom and pop. The gentleman shared a story about his wife was sick or whatever, and insurance just wasn't doing as it should. It's America. That happens a lot. And this community saw the story online, rallied around, and I'm pretty sure in one day, sun up to sundown, they purchased enough goods for this man to essentially get what he needed to have his wife treated. Dope. So then he could take days or even a week away from his business to go not only get her treated, but be with his wife. Yeah. And this is, I think, that is the energy I think that's around what I really believe the community is trying to do.
We understand that it's not about convenience, and we might not be able to walk into one store and see everything at one place. So we will do our due diligence in making sure we find you.
I've been seeing a lot of talk or hearing a lot of talk, pardon me, and seeing a lot of activity around self-care.
Yeah.
I love this era of identifying, doing the best to rectify through therapy or whatever, trauma, taking breaks, taking trips, all the necessary pieces to like live a vital life, to kind of, again, lead yourself well and live authentically. And there's some things that I came across. Actually, I don't know if you're familiar with the 8 C's, the 8 C's of self. It's a wonderful kind of just like a guideline to make sure that we are essentially looking for and leaning into like our actual essence.
Okay. I like it. 8 C's.
So at our core, each of us are curious, compassionate, confident, courageous, clear, creative, connected, and calm. We are.
Before our fears.
Correct.
Correct.
Yep. I feel like I'm seeing, in specifically the Black community, step into this idea of calmness.
Yeah.
It's one of the 8 C's. Again,
I agree.
We're not, this is just
That's
who
true.
Humans are at their core.
Yeah.
We're not all gonna wait. I'm like, oh, I did all 8 today. That's not the point. But I've been reminded that like, I feel like a step in this season for Black Americans has been like, I have to find my calm. I have to be okay with getting up and relatively going with the flow because I'm not controlling everything. I don't need to freak out about everything. I don't need to respond to everything. There are so many things we could be responding to every single day, but I'm seeing people walk in their calmness. I'm seeing elevated levels of compassion.
We could focus on survive, but I think Black people have made the decision that thriving is what they're going to do.
That's what it feels like.
Sure, it's going to be difficult days. Sure, it might be a cold winter, but at the end of the day, we got to keep going. If we can continue to embody these traits, I think at the end of this season, imagine what we'll be like as a people.
One community showing up to the table in a manner that is calmer, more confident, more courageous, more creative.
Yeah.
You know, than it has maybe needed to be in the past. Occupying that space, how inviting is that?
That's how you emerge on the other side, a better person.
I agree. So let's go be better.
It's Beltline Black.